We begin today with a halftime trade alert. It is from Bill Baruch, and he does join us because he has bought CrowdStrike. Why'd you do that? It's good to have you on. Tell us about this trade and why you decided now is the right time.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me on. And so, I mean, we all know that CrowdStrike had a big reaction after the earnings report earlier this year, and then it sold off pretty well. We've stayed away from traditional cybersecurity over the last year and really missed a name like this in the bull market of 2023. Not to say we had quite a bit of exposure in names like NVIDIA and others, but one of the reasons why I stayed away from traditional cybersecurity was a fear that the hyperscalers were going to roll out a really competitive edge in the security space, and users that were already on their platforms would begin adopting to such. And anecdotally, I had a conversation with Dan Ives earlier this year and in February at dinner one evening and asked him, how does he feel about something like that? And I felt there's no one really better to ask. And only in his way, his response to me was, I've been getting that question ever since Tom Brady was playing football in Michigan. And I think that kind of spoke a lot to me. And really, at that moment, I realized I need to get some exposure into a name like CrowdStrike and look to doing it on a pullback. So we had this broad market pullback, and it getting into CrowdStrike here gives it a month before the earnings, and the market broadly has sold off. So I think it's really well positioned. And then you hear about Warren Buffett over the weekend talking about AI and how there's AI increases the risk of scamming. And I see that just in our normal everyday life all the time, the risk there. So I think having exposure in this space is extremely important. And then we talk about CrowdStrike more specifically, they have beat earnings, EPS and revenue, 8 of the last 8 quarters. So I expect this name to continue on that track, and I'm excited to be an owner of CrowdStrike now.
Interesting. You're joining the club, so to speak. Josh Brown, have you been in this name a long time? What do you make of the move right here?
Well, I obviously agree with it. I've been long this name since the summer of 2020. It's up 400%. It is the best performer of the larger cap security names. I believe that quality in this space matters. I don't think there are going to be 10 relevant companies for very much longer, because if you're a Fortune 500 company or you're a large governmental body or a municipal agency, if your reputation is on the line, ultimately, you're going to end up choosing the highest quality providers so that you don't so you don't lose your job. You don't destroy your reputation as a professional. So we've seen that in this space over the decades. This new generation of AI-enabled, machine learning-enabled neural nets requires that you have a large concentration of users. And CrowdStrike has figured out that equation. They've done so for a long time. And I think that's why, ultimately, you're going to see a lot of concentration of customers at the larger companies. I think this is best in breed. I think George Kurtz is a genius, and I'm a long-term shareholder here. So yeah. Congratulations to new investors in the name. I hope it continues.
Yeah, Joe, you're in it too, along with Palo Alto, but this is the one that you've been playing for a while as well.
Yeah, it's cybersecurity, and it's a valuable lesson for the viewers in holding on and letting your winners ride. That's exactly what's unfolded here with CrowdStrike. And CrowdStrike has had a very strong recovery. Let's remember where we were on the cybersecurity trade in February, Palo Alto. That significant decline for Palo Alto. So Palo Alto has not come back as strongly as CrowdStrike has. There's been relative outperformance from CrowdStrike. It was recently added to the Joe T ETF. I've owned it personally for quite some time, and I'm basically all in on the cybersecurity trade.